Viva España! Ole! This is the third generation Smart fortwo, facelifted. Gone are the internal combustion engines, electric powertrain remains, and instead of the electric drive badge, we now have an EQ badge. And by the way, this is most likely the last Smart in this form, because Daimler and Geely signed a deal which foresees moving production to China and developing a B segment replacement. But that's something for another episode. And now let's see what's new in the current generation, which is kind of tiny. Inside and out, it's mainly cosmetics, new headlights in the front and lights in the back, more rounded shapes, but that's still your 270 centimeters long and 166 centimeters wide two-seater city runabout. Okay, you can choose the Renault Twingo-based 3.5 meter long four-door four-seater called very aptly 4x4, but here I'll focus on the fortwo. The Smart as a city car is a great concept. We usually transport empty space around, so one extra seat is enough in most cases. The original Smart was only 2.5 meters long, which allowed it to park perpendicular to the curb between larger cars, which parked parallel to the curb. Unfortunately, it turned out this method of parking is illegal in some markets. Shame, because you can still park two Smarts in an average European parking space. No, that's not the optimum way of doing it, but this is just to let you visualize it. The boot space is around 260 liters to the window line or 350 to the roof. This is a convertible, hence it opens a bit weird like this. But you can actually sit on this, like so. I'm not sure it's designed to do this. Anyway, this should hold about one fat presenter, that's me, or I could go on a diet, and so could my girlfriend, but it seems that we like a bit more than lettuce without dressing for our dinner, which makes it a bit problematic. Now, later on I'm going to tell you that the suspension is really hard and crashy, but I think they've improved something, because this is quite pleasant actually. For some reason, Smart keeps installing this rather cumbersome roll cover in the boot instead of the light and thin structure like in the Renault Twingo. And something EV designers in general have yet to learn: where's the place for charging cables? Off the top of my mind, I can name Audi e-tron, Jaguar I-Pace, Porsche Taycan, and the whole Tesla range. They have front trunks or frunks big enough to store charging cables. Other car makers claim most of the time we don't need charging cables, and if you need them, you can always store them under the boot floor. Or, like in case of the Smart, they can take up really precious cargo space. Now get this. To make things a bit more interesting, the Smart does have some space under the bonnet. Okay, so maybe the opening is not the most elegant, but since I don't need charging cables every day, apparently, I could keep a cable here, just, you know, in case of emergency. And yes, you can lock it with a key. Trust me, you can. And now I'm going. The thing is, in the Smart EQ, I will need the cable every single day, sometimes twice a day. We'll get to that in a minute. The Smart is a city car. There is no denying it, and nobody is claiming otherwise. For a city car, it has generous cargo space, and with the front seat folded, you can hold some real shit here. The problem is that a small city car should be agile and economical, and in case of the ICE Smart, it was neither particularly economical nor especially agile, especially with the early automated manual transmission models. Now with the electric drivetrain, the Smart accelerates from 0 to 60 km per hour in about 5 seconds, which is plenty quick for the city jungle. Which leaves us with the economy, or rather with the question of range. The Smart has 17.6 kilowatt-hour batteries and should use up to 15 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. This gives us a theoretical range of above 100 kilometers. Smart even claims over 140 when the conditions are right. When I drove the pre-facelift model with the same batteries and the same powertrain, the car used 22 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. Yes, it was chilly, but not below freezing, and the car was preconditioned. Meanwhile, it barely covered 80 kilometers on a single charge, not great if you live in a large city and you have to get across to the other side. This begs the question, wouldn't it make more sense to take public transport across a busy city rather than get stuck in a car? Well, I have a question for you. Why would I have a car at all if there is good public transport or those kind of city bikes, scooters, pay-per-minute cars? I'll leave you with this question, and now let's talk about how this thing is to drive. The Smart fortwo EQ weighs close to 1100 kilograms. In a car this size, it means hard suspension and noises when you go over a pothole or a sewer cover. Visibility front and to the sides is okay, to the back not so good. Because of the falling roofline, I can only see about 2-3 meters behind the car, which may not be a big problem for a city car, but it's something I want to address here. Also, in case of the cabriolet or cabrio with the roof down, you can't see anything in the rearview mirror, so it's the wing mirrors that are most important. On the plus side, the Smart fortwo needs only 7 meters to turn around. Most cars need at least 10 meters. So the Smart has just 3.5 meters turning radius, or just below 7 meters turning circle. What does it mean? It means I have to be very careful so as not to drive over the camera person. See? I got you.
No, you don't get that easy.
In eco mode, you get what should be one-pedal driving, but it isn't. As you gradually lift off the accelerator, the recuperation sets in and slows you down. However, in other EVs, recuperation is much more aggressive, hence one-pedal driving. Here, you can barely feel the car slow down. In normal mode, there is a radar which detects traffic in front, and it will apply regenerative braking for you when the car is coasting. Again, in other EVs, regen braking is much stronger. For this smaller car, the interior is actually quite spacious. Renault's excuse for cup holders and a side drawer on the passenger side have been replaced with a shelf big enough for a modern smartphone, and underneath it are 2 full-size cup holders. The only problem is that the USB port is far between the seats. That's from a Renault, I believe. Now, some of the switchgear is from Renault as well, but it's not very obtrusive, and I like that they designed a bespoke panel. Well, bespoke is a big word, but it's a dedicated panel for the Twingo and for the Smart, rather than taking something from, say, an old Clio. I also see that Smart has given up on the colorful bits of cloth trim. They would get stained very quickly, so now it's all black. A bit sad, but at least it doesn't get dirty. Something a car with the word Smart in its name should be good at is connectivity. The Smart takes advantage of your smartphone's computing power, or, to put it in layman's terms, it has, or actually will have, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I can't show you the new interface yet because during the launch event we were driving the cars with the old version of the infotainment system. The new version will be available as of the second quarter 2020. To manage charging, preconditioning, to look for chargers, etc., Smart also offers a new smartphone and wearable app. The coolest part is, in my opinion, the use of augmented reality to check if a large item you want to buy will fit in the boot. And what about charging? The Smart's modest 17.6 kWh batteries, that's less than half of what the current Nissan Leaf is packing, have a psychological upside to them. They take only about 8 hours to charge from a regular 230 volt socket, and if you spend $1,000 on a 22 kilowatt charger, it takes about 40 minutes to get from 0 to 80% from a Type 2 socket. The cost of charging will, of course, vary. In Poland, we still get some free public chargers operated by local energy companies, but these charging points are likely to start charging money, pun intended. It's not only a matter of costs, as the number of EVs in Poland is growing, about 8.5 BEVs and PHEVs at the end of 2019, but also to persuade people leaving cars charging for hours that maybe they do not need to charge 100% every time, and they could allow others to get some juice. Because in everyday use, an EV doesn't need to be recharged fully, but only enough to get you to the next stopover where there is a charger. The only time it makes sense to actually charge the car fully is before you take a long journey, so you don't have to waste much time recharging along the route. But even then, charging to full usually happens from a regular home socket or a wall box. Okay, enough about EV-cat, and now let's see how much energy did I use driving around Valencia all day. Well, I drove, say, 50-60 kilometers, and the best result I saw was 14.5 kilowatt hours. Drive a bit faster on a ring road, and it goes above 15. So yeah, that's that. Prices of the Smart EQ start at €22,000 for the fortwo coupe, the 4.4 starts at 22,600, and the fortwo cabrio starts at 25 grand. That's about twice the starting price of the old internal combustion engine model. And if you want any of the cool stuff which make your car more than a pay-per-minute rental, get ready to spend another 3,000 or 4,000 euro. The Smart Fortwo is small on the outside and spacious on the inside. There is no denying this is some clever packaging. The problem is that the smart people keep pushing the same innovative concept for more than 20 years now, while the car is only becoming more and more expensive. Meanwhile, with the electric powertrain only, the Smart EQ doesn't even let you leave the city with peace of mind that you're not going to have to stop somewhere in the village where you're going to bust a farmer's fuses. You really need to think about this, and you really need to set your pain threshold. For me, it's the price or the range. And despite liking electric cars in general, I cannot take a hit in both areas. And do you see yourself in an electric city car? Let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe for more of my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car videos. You are more than welcome to like and share this video and hit the notification bell to make sure you get notified about new videos. And apparently it would also help bunny rabbits if you turn the notifications on your mobile device. As if. See you in the next episode. España, por favor. Ole.